All right, my dudes, welcome back to another Movie Monday on a Tuesday. So today, guys, I'm covering this little movie I found called Blue Monkey. It is streaming now on TUBI TV. It is from 1987, and this movie is bananas. So it starts off, and you basically have this old lady who's like in her like little greenhouse. You know, she loves her plants, and her husband comes over. I want to say it's her husband, and is putzing around with one of the plants and gets freaking like cut. And she's like, "There's no way. There's no thorns on that. Like, I just got that plant. It comes from like, I don't know where. It's somewhere far." And she's like looking at it, and she's like, "Man, you should probably go to the hospital." So right away, this movie kind of gets you into the story. Like, okay, clearly there's something off with these plants, right? All right. He gets to the hospital. You have some other characters introduced. You have some like detective dude who's just basically hanging out trying to see like if his what do you call that? Like his like buddy in crime, his partner in crime. See if his like buddy detective is doing okay. And he like overhears that there's this dude who just got, bit by something. And the guy starts seizing out. And they're like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" And then they pull out this giant bug. There's this giant bug that's just fucking hanging out inside of him, and they're like, "Oh my god, we need to like inspect this. Like, I've never seen this before, right?" It's like a big, reminded me of, remember Fear Factor? Remember Fear Factor, guys, when they used to like eat bugs and shit? Yeah, it looked like one of those big grubs, right? So they're like, "All right, we're gonna keep this grub under like surveillance, and we're gonna try making sure, nothing else happens." And then there's somebody else who was kind of close to like what had happened who also is starting to get the same symptoms. So now we're starting to realize like there's like an outbreak of some weird slug thing going on, right? And all happening now in this like little hospital. So you get introduced to like a bunch of these like little misfit kids that are just like hanging out and having a good time. The detective kind of like catches their eye. And of course, they're the shit disturbers that make shit go down, right? Like, they're super young, and they're just, like, looking around, they're bored, and they go into that room where they're trying to keep that little bug thing, and they end up sprinkling some shit on top. I mean, like, if you were a kid, I think you'd probably do it, too. Like, who doesn't want to sprinkle things on top of other things anyways? It's basically, these kids take the stuff, shake it on top, and then they're like, "All right, let's go," and, like, run away. And shit goes down. So down. And basically, this movie is like a creature going around messing shit up. Yeah. And like, it's all about like, yeah, this organism. And it's freaking taking a muck around the hospital. And it's all about, the cops end up finding out. They're like, "Holy crap, like, we gotta call, like, the World Health Organization. Let's call, like, a special bug guy." So they call the special bug guy, and the special bug guy's like, "Oh, this is so neat." And so he goes to the hospital. It's like everyone's trying to, like, help. But then they're under quarantine. So then everybody's freaking out in the hospital, like, I don't know what's going on. And then there's this big mutant fly thing going around. Okay, it's kind of like an ant. It's kind of like, I'm still trying to figure out what it was. Was it a praying mantis ant? To me, it looks like a giant ant face. Anyways, the effects are so good. There is the most phenomenal scene in this movie. I'm not going to say what happens, but it's such a phenomenal effect scene that they made it for me. It's like, there's not too much, like, blood and guts. What this movie does is a lot like the old Alien movie, like, where you don't see the creature. You don't see the creature for, like, a good fair bit until, like, closer to the end. And, like, the way the kills would happen is, like, you hear, like, splurch, and, like, you just see, like, a shoe fall, like, a bunch of green guts, or, like, a bunch of blood splat everywhere kind of thing. Like, the directing and, like, writing for this was actually really good. Yeah. Anyways, you gotta see that one freaking kill. I think that made me love it, like, altogether. I don't quite get the ending, okay? Like, I find it kind of neat, because, like, you have, like, that whole aspect of, like, these, like, innocent little characters. Like, even, like, the grandma, she, like, ends up being in the hospital, and, like, some other grandma lady comes and hangs out with her and wears shades, and she's just, like, getting her drunk. Like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And I was like, what's good? And then you got this, like, quirky dude who's got some wife who's pregnant, so, like, it's, like, a little mini side story almost. But, like, it's all well done. It's cheese, but it's good cheese. And just the way it ended, I was like, oh man, it does like tie it all back kind of thing. I wonder if there's a second Blue Monkey. I'm not even sure. I don't know. Anyways, Blue Monkey. No monkeys in it. I didn't see any monkeys in it. There is one mention of the word blue monkey. And another thing I noticed about this movie, there's like two nurses you keep seeing, but one of the main nurses has like these big glasses and she reminds me so much of the nurse from Beyond. You remember that movie? From Beyond? Yeah. Yeah, I covered it. I love that one. Anyways. So good. Guys, let me know what you thought about this one. I really enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to be making this a part of my collection, because, like, yeah. I love a good creature feature, and, like, it had those feelings of, like, The Fly when it comes to character creation, I guess you'd say. Like, the monster itself. Also, like, there's so many scenes in it that, like, get you tied up. I love movies with, like, there's like a good chase scene at one point. And you're like, oh my god, like they're actually putting a lot of effort into this movie. Comparing it to Slithis, guys, where Slithis was like a huge it was a very different film. Yeah, whereas like this one you saw they were like putting in the production value, you know. Anyways, Blue Monkey, let me know what you guys thought. If you're subscribed, thank you so much, and guys, if you're not, get on that. Also, coming up this week, I have just finished editing up my mold making how-to video. I know, it took me so long to put this together. It is like a 25-minute long video, but it's gonna be good. And at least anybody who wants to learn and stuff, yeah, you can learn along with me. Alright. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys soon.